Hi everybody, thanks for coming to my panel. It's just me, all alone up here, talking about stuff. So, first I'm just going to introduce myself I'm assuming you probably know who I am if you're here, but sometimes not. So I'm just going to do a brief self-introduction. My name is Trott. I am a voice actor. I am known probably most famously for Nezuko currently, voicing Nezuko in Demon Slayer. I've also voiced Annette in Fire Emblem Three Houses. I sing the theme song to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Lifelike. Let's see, what else? I don't know what else I do. That's about it. So those are a few things. Oh yeah, I have that shirt too. I am Kaya Takemi in Persona 5R, if you played that. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. I think my most recent announcement is I'll be voicing Wonder Woman in the new DC fighting game that's coming out, which I'm super stoked about. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, lots of anime and video game stuff. So today I thought we could do a general Q&A about anything you might want to talk about. I did want to kind of, because I know this question comes up a lot, how did you get into voiceover? I don't know, is anybody curious about that? Yes, okay. So I'm gonna just like open it by giving you my backstory of how I got into voiceover, which is kind of a weird, roundabout way. So I studied theater, which is a lot of voice actors kind of have a theater background or performer background. And I was a theater major in college, thought I was going to just go and be an actor. But I also studied Japanese and East Asian studies, and I really wanted to go to Japan. And I was an anime fan, but that's not why I went to Japan. So I applied to the JET program and moved to Japan. I lived in Akita, Japan for 2 years, and it's this tiny town in like rural Japan, up north. Lots of snow in the winter, like middle of nowhere Japan, but it was like absolutely beautiful. This place apparently is what inspired a lot of the art for Studio Ghibli. If you know, like Princess Mononoke, My Neighbor Totoro, that's how beautiful Akita was for real. It's just gorgeous. So I originally was just gonna stay there for a year, just having fun in Japan. I loved it so much I stayed for another year, just having fun in Japan, teaching some English. And then I was like, I should probably do what I want to do in life, which is acting and music. And I was trying to decide either move back to the United States or give it a go in Tokyo because I'm in Japan and man, I really should try to live in Tokyo, right? So I moved to Tokyo and I ended up staying there for 4 years. I worked in Tokyo for 4 years. I was performing in children's musicals mainly as my main gig, and just as an actor I was gigging here and there, doing some singing jobs, like backup singing, live performance. I did telephone English, which was this job where I would sing to children on the phone, so they would learn English that way. I would just call their house and they would choose which songs they wanted to listen to, and if they wanted to just listen or if they wanted to sing along, I would sing. It was really cute. So that was one of my gigs. And then also, commercials here and there. That's where I started to get into voiceover. So I did some promo stuff. I did some textbooks in English. Not the most thrilling types of voiceover. And then I got an audition for some character voice matches for the shows that I was doing, for the puppets and the people in costume on stage who were portraying these Disney-like characters on stage. So I ended up doing some of those character voices, and I realized how much I love doing voiceover, and this specific type of voiceover. Not promo, not commercial, not textbooks, but acting as a character that's different from myself. And I thought about it, and I was like, if I want to pursue this, I have to move back to the United States because there's not a whole lot of English voiceover in Japan, unfortunately. I did have one audition for an animation while I was there called Sushi Town. But that was it for animation, because most of the anime, obviously, is in Japanese. And although I spoke Japanese, I was not a native speaker, so that was out. So I moved back to the United States. This is a long story. I was wondering if I should go to LA or New York, and ended up going to New York because it was closer to home. My parents live in Massachusetts. And during that time also, I entered a contest that I found on YouTube. I don't know if any of you have seen this video. Anybody? No, okay. It was a contest hosted by Zoom Entertainment, partnered with Star Child Entertainment in Japan, and it was an anime voiceover contest. And there were two parts to the audition. There was one part where you have to do voiceover, just like voicing some of your favorite characters or some character voices, and then a talent video. And I was like terrified to put this on the internet because it was basically like you had to enter and just like upload your video to their YouTube and like just let it go. And at the time I was not confident in my ability at all. I was like, am I a narcissist just like showing off all my talents like in this talent video? Like what is this? And so I almost didn't enter this contest. And my older brother, he gave me the advice, and he was just like, just do it, who cares? And I was like, you know what? That's true. Like, nobody cares. This is for me, I'm just gonna try. And I entered this contest, and I ended up winning this contest. And they flew me to LA to do the finale, where I was able to dub my first anime called Miss Monochrome. It's a short little anime, really cute. And I realized then that most of the jobs that I wanted were in LA. So 6 months after moving to New York, taking voiceover classes there, doing this contest, I was like, I gotta move to LA. So I did, and I've been working there in voiceover ever since. So slowly snowballing, it takes a long time to build your career. But because of this contest, I had a little bit of a head start because I had some connections in LA, and I met some great people. And so I moved there, started getting auditions from Zoom, met other people from other studios, and obviously kept taking classes because I never want to stop learning. So here I am today, still trying to learn, still trying to grow, and hopefully I'll keep working in voiceover. Who knows? The end. That's my life story. So I wanted to just kind of take this opportunity to open up the floor to any questions at all about particular jobs I've done, characters, or voiceover stuff, if you guys want to talk about that. Anything? Any questions from anyone? Yes.
I'm just curious, how did you audition for the singing role for Smash Brothers?
The singing role for Smash Brothers. That was from a studio that I had worked with before on video games. And they sent me an audition. First of all, they were just like, this is for a theme song for a video game. No idea what game it was. They don't tell us anything. And so I was like, oh, cool. A theme song for a video game. I would love to do that because I love video games and I love singing. So they wanted us to submit a demo first. So I sent them this demo that I had made when I was in Japan, where I have a song in Japanese on there. It's like a ballad, and I think that's why I got a call back, because it kind of fit the vibe of Lifelike. And then the second round of auditions came, which was, they had us sing the theme song to Evangelion, but a few steps higher than the original key. And so this is another job where I was like, I almost didn't submit for real, because that day when I had the call back, they wanted it that day or the next day. So I was like, I have to do it now, but my voice is not great because I had been doing extreme, screaming in a video game or something, and I was like, I don't know if and I emailed the studio and I was like, I don't think I can send this, it's not good enough. and I'm so sorry, like, I just don't want to disappoint the client. And then the owner of the studio was like, Abby, just send it, it's fine, I'm sure it's fine, just send it. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna send something. And so I did the audition. I was feeling really not confident, and I looked for a job. So that's voiceover for you. Like, you never know. And like, I think a lot of times actors in general, not just voice actors, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect and to be, we have really high standards for ourselves, and we think like, if I'm capable of this, like nothing less will do, like I need to be 100% all the time. And like, that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes you just gotta go for it. And it's often better to take the shot. And even if you're not fit for a role, you should submit anyway, because sometimes the casting directors will hear that and think of you for something else that you are fit for. But anyway, I'm still learning the lesson of like, just go for it. Just go for it. Any other questions? Yeah, in the back.
A little unrelated. How much would you say living in Japan affected your cooking?
My cooking?
Yeah.
Probably a lot, because I love Japanese food. And I was really spoiled in Japan because who's been to Japan here? Anyone? The food is like another level, right? It's so fresh, it's amazing. And I thought I had tasted fresh food, but not until I went to Japan had I tasted like actual fresh sushi, and like, it's such high quality, it's really good. So please go to Japan and eat lots of food. But now, like, I still make like soba at home. I learned to make sushi. I'm not great at it, but I still try. And yeah, I like buy furikake, which is like the topping for rice, and it's often on rice balls. I put that on my oatmeal because I'm weird. So definitely, yeah, still lasting effects. Any other questions? Nope, that's all the questions. All right.
I actually had one. I was hoping Google would load the name of this guy. I forgot. But there are actors that will go to Japan simply for the commercials. How do you feel about that personally? Like big Hollywood A-list celebrities going there just for commercials, like the guy from Men in Black, or another famous one is
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. Thank
Boss
you.
Coffee.
Yeah.
I
What
think
do you think of stuff like that? Do you ever think that they're just going for contracts to make bigger connections there, or do you feel like it's just a quick paycheck? Or
I mean, commercial is its own beast. I feel like most commercial jobs are a quick paycheck, because it's not like, I don't know, like not a lot of people are like, I want to sell you some Caribou coffee right now. Like, it's not, it's not people's passion in life to sell people products often. I don't know, maybe some voice actors like, I love it, and that's what I want to do. But I assume that commercial is for the paycheck, and I don't judge about that. Like, it's fair, whatever you want to do. And I don't know if you've seen like Japanese ads, but they're pretty great. So they're pretty awesome. So if I were asked to do a Boss Coffee ad, I would say yes. I don't know about you. Anybody else have a question?
Yeah, what led you here to Tennessee?
What led me to Tennessee?
Yeah.
They asked me to come.
Just this?
That's it. They're like, would you please come? And I was like, okay.
So you're still in LA doing all this right now?
What's that?
So you're still in LA doing all this right now?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay.
It has been easier for people to find jobs online these days, especially post-pandemic, because we were all forced to record from home and figure that out real quick. Before the pandemic, it was like unheard of to record anime from home. They were like, we can't do that. You have to see the picture, like, how would that work? But then when the pandemic hit, they're like, and this is how it works, this is how we're gonna do it, we gotta do it. And so everybody's been dubbing from like their closets. I'm lucky enough that I have a studio set up in my garage that's pretty like soundproof. But at the beginning of the pandemic, I did not have that. And I just had like my closet inside and a soundproof curtain. and also 2 cats that love attention. And when I was trying to work in there, one of them in particular would climb the curtain. So I would be in there and then I would just hear this like, as the cat like climbs up the curtain and I'm like, hold on a second, I got a problem, let me just, yeah, so I realized that I could not work inside real quick and I got my setup in the garage and I still dub from there for certain things like Demon Slayer and some other projects I still work from home, but I am going back to the studio for most things these days. Yeah. Any other questions? I saw one over there.
Yeah, I was going to say, for something like that you do with the net, with 3 houses, how long did that take?
Recording that game?
Yeah.
It was a few 4-hour sessions.
Really?
Yeah, so typically for video games, you do, if you have enough script, you do a 4-hour session. And that one, because like the game was kind of coming out in stages, like they had this part ready, so like I would come in, record that, and then like the next part would come out, so I would go in and do another 4-hour session. And I would sing little songs, like the steak song. Today's dinner is steak and then a cake that's yum. No. Yeah, but that was also like, for video games, like, especially JRPGs and localized projects, it is like, it can vary because it's usually a lot of loose lines, but sometimes there's also like cinematic scenes that you are dubbing as well. So sometimes you'll like record the whole script, the loose script, and then you'll come back and you'll have like some cinema scenes to record to the picture. And so, yeah, it's always a toss-up. Anybody else? Yes.
Is it harder or easier to do musical, considering most of her lines are just pieces?
It depends. It depends. Some of my sessions are just me going in. I use my finger as a bamboo, and I'm just like, and that's it, and I'm done. And then there are other sessions where it's like, I am growling, or I'm fighting, and I'm like ferociously growling, and it's like, that's a lot on your throat, especially if you're doing other jobs that day or that week. So it can be really, I say challenging, stressful is probably the word. And it can be challenging to like emote without speaking. But I try to think about like what would I be saying if I were to be saying words and try to get the sound to get that across. I voice a lot of characters that don't really say words. Like, I don't know if you know Bo from Fate Granddaughter, the little fluffy, like wolfish creature, just says Fo. That's it. That's all I say. So those sessions are also very short. And then in Demon Slayer, I'm also Chuntaro, the little sparrow that Zenitsu is getting his butt kicked by all the time. Yeah, I'm just like, that's it. So they pay me money to do this, and I do, and it's great. I was also in Bug Snacks. Have you guys heard of that video game? It's along the lines of Pokemon in that all of the Bug Snacks just say their own name, and they're weird and gross. And so that was another one where it was like, I'm just saying one word here. So, but good times. I love it. I saw another question over there somewhere with it. Yes.
Who would you say is your trained character to voice?
Trained character to voice. That's a really hard question. I always say like one that doesn't exist yet because my favorite thing to do is like original animation or an original video game character. What I mean by original is that it's not a localization or a dub, so that I don't have like any reference or any picture that I'm going off of. It's all from my imagination and the director's imagination and whatever character art they feel like showing me. That's the most fun for me. I would love to play like a juicy villain, though, because I feel like a lot of the time I'm playing like either a cold-hearted bitch or like a really cute something, like little happy-go-lucky something or other. So I kind of want to do manipulative, conniving villain with their own agenda. That'd be fun. Yes.
Is there a game franchise you would like to be part of?
A game franchise. I would love to be in Metroid, but the problem with Metroid is there's like usually one character. In this latest though, I don't know who's playing Dread. Anyone playing Dread? There are a few voices in that, so I don't know. You never know. But that's one of my favorite franchises of all time. So I'm gonna say Metroid. And I would like to be a Metroid. And I would just say, Metroid. And that's what it would be. That's what they sound like. Any other questions? Yes, way in the back.
What would you say is the hardest difference culturally speaking when it comes to dubbing? Like, is it a cadence thing, or would it be like a point of reference for the conversation? Or what would you say is the most different thing you've noticed about culturally speaking when it comes to translating?
That's a good question. So, I lived in Japan for 6 years. I speak Japanese, and I do have the cultural reference when I'm dubbing. Like, I know what they're talking about, and I get the jokes, and I understand what they're going for a lot of the time, most of the time. It doesn't always translate into English, because a lot of anime, a lot of Japanese media is about that Japanese experience, very specific references to Japanese culture, and jokes that just don't translate into English. So a lot of the times the hardest part about localizing something as an actor, as an adapter, is trying to get the essence of that joke and reimagining it how it would work in English. What is like the closest thing, or what is like a similar vibe in English that would get this across? And so, like, dubbing and localization is really another art form. And there are things that I love, like, I typically watch anime in the original Japanese just because I want to practice. But when I do watch dubs, especially these days, like, I have such an appreciation for good directing, localization, translation, when they can, like, really, like, capture that. And a lot of times you find in the English dub, it's like a new version of a thing. Like, they're not going to be the same, obviously, but a well-done dub is in itself its own great thing. So it's tricky, it's really tricky. Anybody else have a question? Yeah.
I'm the Ace Combat fan. I really like the new
You're
one.
the Ace Combat fan?
I guess so. I guess
The
I'm the
one?
here. I'm
That's
the big
crazy.
one. I'm the one of maker.
It's such an honor to be
Yeah.
here.
But I love your character in Ace Combat 7. And first question, I have two questions. First one was there any interesting anecdotes or insights in the production of that game? And the second question is a little bit of my fanboyism coming out, but do you know of any, what the future development of that character might be in the future games or in story DLCs in the future?
Okay, I'm gonna answer the second question first.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I have no idea. They don't tell us anything. They don't tell us anything when we're recording, before we're recording, when we're recording. They just give us the bare minimum. And so, yeah, I have no idea what, if anything, is to come. So keep your eyes peeled, and I don't know, hopefully something. But I love recording Avril because she's such a badass. Like, she's so cool, and she's like very determined, stubborn, smart, capable, like really just a really solid character. And it was my first character like that I got to voice, so I really had a great time recording her. And an anecdote from recording, I just remember, like, first of all, the pronunciations of all the consonants. Like, every time I went into a session, I feel like it changed, and then we would have to go back to the reference and be like, wait, what was it again? Was it pronunciation? And so that was a little bit, it can be confusing at times. And then, like, that was also one of the jobs where my Japanese actually came in handy for once, because they were looking at the Japanese scripts, and they were like, what does this word mean? Is this consonant? Or they were like, what does this word mean? And I was like, it's consonant. And they're like, oh, thank you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did, it was an all for naught. Like I studied Japanese for 3 years before I went to Japan. I lived there for 6 years, kept studying. And then I moved back to the United States and I was like, okay, well that was all pointless. Like I'm never gonna use my Japanese again. Even though I love it, but it actually has been coming in handy with dubbing because sometimes I can be like, that's not, let's change that to this. And I can help if somebody has a question sometimes, so yeah. Yes.
In a lot of voice acting where facial mapping is becoming a big thing, has that affected you at all?
I have not had my face mapped. I've done facial mocap before.
That's what I mean by that, sorry.
Well, the face mapping is a thing, and it's kind of scary. It's a little scary. Because they like, basically will take your likeness and put you in a video game as an avatar, and that's kind of creepy to me. Like, I don't know if I want my face to be in the game. But performance capture, I'm all about it. I think that's cool. Like, take my movements and then make me look different, and then that's cool.
Have you had to do any of it yet?
Facial mocap, yes. I have not done like full bodysuit mocap yet. I was going to do it for Back for Blood, but the pandemic happened and then they were like, we're gonna have a small team do the mocap for this. And so yeah, that was for Carly from Back for Blood. So someday, it's on my goals list. We'll see. Anybody else have a question? Yes.
How much of voice acting is improv?
It depends on the project. For dubbing, not a lot. Unless they say like, it's like Walla, and then you can just like make up stuff. But for original animation, I feel like you have a lot more freedom. Or Carmen Sandiego, specifically, I don't know, has anybody seen Carmen Sandiego on Netflix? Oh, cool. So I voice Ivy in that, and I'm a twin with my brother Zach. And we got to record together and just kind of like go off of each other and like be mean to each other. And they kept a lot of that in the show. So like a lot of times in original animation you have that opportunity. But video games and dubbing, not as often. It's a rarer thing. Yes. Anybody else have anything? Yes.
Do you have any bloopers or outtakes that you've done in the studios while recording or anything?
Oh man, so many. It's hard to think of specific instances, but I like to record, like, if I know that somebody is coming into the session after me, sometimes I'll just record, like, a random line. Or, like, if the line is ridiculous, or the image is ridiculous, I'll change the line and like record. We record bloopers, and like a lot of times the directors will keep them. And then recently I was recording an episode of I'm Not Gonna Tell You What, and there was a shot where my character was like covering their chest like this, and I just like added this line like, and don't look at my nipples, and I just left that in there for the actor who's coming in after me. And I told the director, I was like, make sure you play that for them. So stuff like that happens all the time. Yeah, a lot of spinning. I don't know if that counts as a blooper, but like when you get really into a character, like yelling or like, you know, if you're a bug snack, like wiggle teeth, like sometimes you drool a little bit and it's not glamorous. So a lot of that kind of stuff. Spitting all over the screen, rubbing it off, trying to be cool. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? No? Is it? Yes.
What's your favorite anime?
My favorite anime, that's a really hard question. I always say, if I had to pick a movie, it would be Princess Mononoke. I love it so much because it has like a beautiful message. Also the art is amazing. Studio Ghibli is one of my favorite studios, animation studios, and I love the message, and I love that it's not just happy. You know, it's like the world has changed after the movie is done, and not necessarily for the better, but there's still hope. So I just love the whole story of Princess Mononoke. If I had to choose an anime, I might say Cowboy Bebop, but I know it's such a cop-out. It's just such a classic, and I grew up watching that on Adult Swim. So, yeah, Cowboy Bebop. Anybody else have a question? The name of my cats? My cats are named Shoe, like shoe creme, not like shoe on your foot, and Keiki, because Keiki is the Japanese word for cake. And I'm dumb, so I was like, I'm gonna name my cat Cake. And they're both special in their own way. Shu is like a mama's boy. He makes me hold him and carry him around like on my shoulder for like, I don't know, every morning for like 20 minutes. I have to hold him, and if I don't, he jumps on my back and like forces himself upon me. And then Kiki is a food goblin. She is obsessed with kibbles. And anytime I go in the kitchen, she asks me for kibbles, like frantically. Not just like, meow, 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 I'm hungry, but she's like, and I'm like, are you starving? Is this? No, I know I'm not a bad cat parent. I know I just fed you. What is going on here? That's Kiki. She's a character. Anyway. Yes. Any other questions? Have we reached the end? Is this it? Are you all hungry? You ready for dinner? I have a question for you. What am I supposed to eat in Tennessee? What is good?
Local goat.
What is it?
Local goat.
He speaks the truth.
Local
Goat.
goats?
Go.
Like bye.
Local goats.
Yeah.
Is it a bar or a pub or?
No, it's... all the food there is locally grown.
Okay.
So it's fresh, very delicious. I recommend the ribs myself.
The ribs. Okay.
They fall off the bones.
Anybody else have taken food recommendations? How about dessert? Anything? No? Okay. I already had a meat pie, so check that off the list. Alright. Thank you so much for coming to my presentation. It was lovely meeting you all, and I hope you have a great con. I hope to see you around. I will be signing probably tomorrow morning. Then there's a Demon Slayer panel that you're all going to come to. And then I'll be signing in the hallway for the free autograph selection. And I think that's my day. So I'll see you around. Thank you.